I tried everything. Everything was frustrating because it looked good on the picture, it looked good on TV, but when I tried it on, it didn't look or fit the same way. I didn't feel pretty, I didn't feel comfortable, and the worst was that I couldn't breathe. They promised you support and beauty and comfort, didn't let you breathe. And
Right.
I had to just simply compromise and adjust with, okay, it's going to be uncomfortable for an hour, for two, because I'm going to come back home and take it off and get out of that
Yeah.
because I couldn't breathe.
Welcome to Off Your Chest, sponsored by Embrago, the only full support bra-free clothing designed with compassion for your curves. I'm your host, Karen Poirier, and together we're rethinking support, style, and self-trust. In today's episode, I'm talking with Dr. Marjorie Zambrano-Paff, a professor and a Pilates instructor. Marjorie shares her story and talks about discovering a new kind of support that changed her practice and her life. Be sure to watch till the end when Marjorie will share some tips that anyone can use to get stronger and healthier. Let's dive in. Well, we are here on a frigid night in Pennsylvania, but it's a very warm vibe indoors here by the fireplace and with my dear friend Marjorie. And I want to introduce you all to her. This is Marjorie Zambrano-Paff. She is a multi-career professional, a professor, a linguist, and a Pilates instructor, and my Pilates instructor. So thank you for being here, Marjorie.
Thank you so much, Karen, for inviting me. My pleasure.
So to get started, you've had such an interesting career. Tell us what your life looks like these days, what you do, juggling these three different careers, and how you got to this point, what brought you here.
Well, long story short, because obviously we can talk years and years of changing careers or trying to find a path. But my path started with teaching. And it's been a lot of years of teaching, but I am a professor. I teach Spanish and sociocultural communication, cross-cultural communication, linguistics at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. But I started here in the United States a long time ago, and that's many years. But I fell in love with languages, and especially I fell in love with English, and I tried to find ways to come and teach here in the United States, and here I am. But soon after that, I was able to, I got my PhD here in Pittsburgh at the University of Pittsburgh. And I became a language consultant for Language Testing International, and I conduct oral proficiency interviews in Spanish for people that want to advance their careers academically and also in other fields. But they need a certification that proves what their language proficiency is. And with this in mind, then people advance not only in their careers but also linguistically. My latest or my career, the last one that I added is teaching Pilates, and I became an instructor because I wanted to know more. I wanted to learn more about what these fantastic exercises did for my life, because I am a practitioner. I do practice Pilates every day almost, besides teaching, but I wanted to have a depth knowledge of what each exercise did and why, and what else I could do to improve myself, to get better, to get stronger, to be able to not only help me, but also help others. And then here I am, and there you are, my student.
And I am a huge Pilates fan. It's been life-changing for me. More on that later. But tell me, one of the things we talk about on this show is issues of support, and both with wardrobes and in other parts of life. And so tell me, as you've gone through the years, I don't know, when did you first come to Pilates? About how many years ago?
I did Pilates back in New York. I lived in New York back in the 90s. So I knew Pilates the very basic, way, no reformer based. And my instructor in New York City did invite me to try the reformer, but to me the reformer didn't click. It was nothing that I could watch or see or have even a picture of what the reformer was.
Right.
Then moving
That's a piece of Pilates equipment.
which is an equipment, which is, the reformer is the bed, that we also call it. But when I moved to this area where I live now, I got a flyer in the mail that said join Club Pilates and try, an intro class, and I did. And I fell in love with the reformer.
Yeah.
And I never thought that the reformer could be a different way to do Pilates. And it taught me so much about other exercises that we could do in Pilates, not just, on the floor.
Right.
And I became a Pilates member, and then a Pilates instructor. So that's how I joined the Club Pilates family.
So you've been doing Pilates for a long time. And
Yes.
by the way, speaking of support, the reformer is pretty amazing. When I came to Pilates only a few years ago, it was right after the pandemic. I had gained weight. I was out of shape. I was deep into perimenopause and feeling terrible and feeling weak and out of shape. And that saved me, really. The reformer Pilates and the approach, which was, gentle and kind of met me right where I was and actually gave me hope that I could get strong again.
Yes.
Because it had been so long since I'd really been fit and in shape. But anyway, let's talk about, since you've practiced Pilates for 20 or 30 years, sounds like, how have your needs for support changed? Tell me about your Pilates wardrobe and
Okay.
what you have worn and what frustrations maybe you had.
Thank you for asking that question, because up until the day that you approached me and told me about Embrago, I wasn't comfortable with anything, with nothing. Pretty much I just felt like that every time that there was something on TV that showed, or online, Instagram or all these apps that we have in social media, try this, bra, try, this sports bra, try this, try that. I've been trying everything. And although it looked beautiful in the pictures, and everything that they were showing these models on TV or, in these apps or social media, when I tried them on, it didn't feel right. So, as usual, then we simply compromise and say, okay, well, it looked good on her. It doesn't look as good on me. But the question that was more crucial to me was, does it feel right on my body?
Now, did you prefer sports bras, or were you wearing yoga tops and,
I tried everything.
What was the issue? Was it a comfort or support or how it looked? What did you find so frustrating?
Everything was frustrating because it looked good on the picture, it looked good on TV, it looked good, but when I tried it on, it didn't look or fit the same way. It wasn't comfortable, it wasn't pretty, I didn't feel pretty, I didn't feel comfortable, and the worst was that I couldn't breathe. Because all these outfits that they promise you support and beauty and comfort didn't let you breathe. And I had to just simply compromise and adjust with, okay, it's going to be uncomfortable for an hour, for 2, because I'm going to come back home and take it off and get out of that, because I couldn't breathe. So
they're all basically made the same way with that really tight elastic band, right? And whether you go
wires,
for wires.
Wires. They were wires. You have to wear wires so that you can fight gravity.
Now, did you always have that problem, or did you find it became more pronounced, as you past 40, neared and past 40?
I don't know if it is embarrassing, but I'm sure, since we're talking about
about a lot of embarrassing things on this show.
I remember my mom, I was getting dressed, and I was in my early 20s, feeling young and beautiful, and proud of, coming out of, adolescence, moving forward, with my life. And she looked at me and said to me, okay, I like everything, but what are you going to do with that? And I went, what do you mean what I'm going to do with this? This is how I am. This is who I am. And actually, you made me. So I came from you. Who
It's your fault.
Exactly. So then I became embarrassed. Because if my mother is noticing this as an embarrassment that I had to hide, that's when I started looking for support, to hide, to contain, to make them smaller, to make them, tighter, or to make them not as obvious.
Right.
And I wasn't not necessarily feeling, the proudest, but I had a task. My job is now to find that piece of clothing that is going to make me look less, not as big,
Presentable.
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Or and then I had to compromise my support. I had to compromise breathing. I had to compromise comfort. And I didn't know that looking beautiful or feeling proud of who I was, I didn't know that that I had to hide other things. I had to compromise breathing. I had to compromise my posture. I had to compromise even the scars, that the wires, the marks. Once you take
the
those
welts,
bras, yes, you leave, and bruises. And nobody can see them, so I just had to compromise for whatever there was in the market.
Right? And that's where it begins for you, for so many women, some women younger than that, right?
Yes.
Some women develop early, and most of us have this core memory where somebody says something. Oftentimes it's our mother, sometimes it's a friend or someone, and it is this sort of rude awakening. It's this loss of innocence, and you suddenly realize, like, oh, this is a liability now that I'm going to have to manage. And then you get drawn into this whole pain equals beauty, right? And nobody ever acknowledges the pain, right? They say, you got to do something about that.
Yes.
And you just do it, take care of it.
Yes.
Don't complain. And, one of the things many of us have encountered is when you go to get a bra fitting. A lot of times, especially if you're full or busted, you're told, oh, you're wearing the wrong size, you need to wear a tighter band, right? And that tight chest band. And it's suffocating, right? You feel that you're harnessed up like a horse, or like the girth on a saddle, and you kind of lose that breath. But if you dare to say that feels too tight,
Yes.
you'll be corrected immediately. Right? And told, oh no, that's not too tight. Because,
That's how it should fit.
this is your obligation. You
Yes.
need to, this is your lot in life now, which is just, it's so cruel, really. And then we absorb this and we internalize it as we go on. So then you went looking for activewear.
Yes. I've been looking for activewear ever since my mom said, what are you going to do with that? And I did find activewear, but it was not the right one.
A lot of things that are designed to really support a fuller bust are usually high-impact sports bras that are by design intended to impede movement.
Yes.
Right. The whole point is that you can't move in the store, so you don't want any movement. And then, of course, what does that do to Pilates?
Not just being able to move, but not being able to stand up correctly, sit down correctly, being able to breathe, allowing your ribs, your rib cage to expand to its full capacity because you're taking a deep breath. Oh, God forbid if you're doing that, wearing all those sports bra, because you can't breathe too much because it hurts. But Embrago, thanks to you, Karen, and thanks to this woman that approached me and said, I didn't know anything about Embrago until you told me. I am a designer. I have this line of, bras.
That's right.
And
it came up because I wear it all the time to Pilates. I wear the same thing every time. I'm an extreme outfit repeater, although I do have more than one, but I wear them all the time to Pilates.
I didn't notice them, but it was like, okay, another one, another top, until you then talked to me and explained to me how it is designed, and then I gave it a try. And I tried it, and I was the first one to tell you, I don't want to take it off. I want to sleep with on it. And I think I've been wearing it almost for the entire week, and it's time to take it off so I can wash it.
Which you can. There are women who sleep in it because it's much better than sleeping in a bra. It's much more comfortable. And you actually don't have to wash it very often because it's 90% organic cotton. It's naturally odor resistant. But yeah, that's the thing. It's I designed it because I couldn't take that constriction anymore. It was bothering me so much. Both, and I don't know what it was. It was it was around the time I turned 40, and I was just in those days. I was still wearing suits and skirts and heels to work every day, going to an office every day, well before remote work life, and I had to get fully, dressed up. I had to deal with these, to deal with that, which is another whole part of the mental load that women have to deal with. And, in my case, there's this flashbulb memory of being at home. We were hosting some family friends that weekend, another couple and their young kids, and our kids were young. And I was really looking forward to it and just hanging out with everyone, real cozy family weekend. And when I got up to make breakfast on Saturday morning, I realized I can't stay in my pajamas. Obviously unsupported. I had to put on a bra.
Yes.
And it was the most deflating feeling because I felt like, the kid who has to go to school when everyone else gets the day off, because it felt like work to me. It felt like no Saturday for you, no relaxation or comfort for you. You have to deal with this.
Yes.
So, and once you might as well get fully dressed once you're strapping on the harness. So that was the day I was determined to try and come up with an alternative. And like you, I tried everything.
Yes.
Everything. I tried, first I started with the department stores and the bra shops. And I tried, comfort bras, sports bras, support camis, all these different things. I scoured the internet. Every 6 months I would look again, and I would try every crazy contraption out there. And there's some crazy ones.
Yes.
And everything was a compromise. If it was comfortable, then it wouldn't be supportive at all, and it wouldn't offer you any shape. You were usually smushed in some way, some unattractive way.
Yes.
And if it supported you, inevitably, it was either through elastic bands, tight elastic bands, or tight shapewear type nylon fabric, which is hot and uncomfortable, or super tight straps that would dig in on the shoulders.
Terrible.
So I looked for literally for years, and finally I had an opportunity to try to design and create this myself with the help of a mentor who was a fashion industry veteran who I knew that there was going to be a lot of technical requirements, that I was an amateur sewer. I could sew kids' clothes, and things, but I hadn't attempted something like this, so I partnered up with her, and she coached me through it. And there was a lot of time where I wasn't sure if it was possible, because I thought, and I really doubted myself a lot. I thought, first of all, am I crazy? Am I the only one? Because everything irritates me so much about these bras. What's my problem? Because again, we're kind of taught as women, suck it up. Do what you need to do, right? And if you don't, you're lazy, right? We're never taught to trust our body and say, you know what, this feels wrong. No, I'm not gonna wear it. So I was not sure it was gonna be possible, but I knew when I went into it that what I was trying to do was to create something that I could wear that looked like I was fully dressed and supported, but felt like wearing sweatpants, basically. And so I worked at it for a long time. And as I did, I actually discovered, as I talked to women along the way about what I was doing, a lot of people were interested in this. We just had never talked about it.
Yes.
Nobody had ever voiced
Yes.
the desire. And I think, that's where I started to realize this is so deeply ingrained and internalized that we don't even think to ask for something different.
And I think that ties to conforming with the norm. The norm of what is the standard looking of our this, because they have to be tight, they have to be up, they have to have a specific shape, if you will.
Right.
Therefore, you have to pack them in there.
Right.
And whatever, you
Right. They shouldn't be too big, and they definitely shouldn't be visibly too big.
Yes. Yes.
Because if they are, that means one of 3 bad things, right?
But it was your design and the fabric and the support that has given me the freedom to walk, to sit, to breathe,
to eat.
to eat,
To eat a meal without feeling squeezed.
look beautiful and supported. I'm always praising you. Maybe you have not seen her design or her beautiful bras, but they're fantastic. And once, if you get a chance to see one, please, not just see one, try one, because you're going to fall in love with them. Not just because of how they fit, but also how they make you feel and support. You totally forget about all that stigma or the stereotypes that we have to wear whatever, specific brand or, sports, house that they sell, because it is the brand that they're selling, or because it is what's in fashion. What matters is that not only do you feel supported, but you also look beautiful, and you forget about everything that is out there in the market, because it's not right. Understanding that you have to have your shoulders straight and not pulled back by these sports bra, by these wires that are going to leave marks every time that you take them off, and that they hurt you, or that you're not able to breathe because you have to hold your breath as you're wearing these, as you're exercising, or even walking, or sleeping, or just doing everyday life is not right.
And we don't even realize it. That's the thing. We just accept it, we just do it, and we're so disconnected from the actual experience that our body is having. And people wonder, why does it feel so good to take off your bra? Well, it's because 7 systems of your body are being constricted and impacted. There's a blog post about this. It affects everything, your circulation, your digestion, your muscles, your nerves, your lymphatic system, your interstitial fluid, everything. So it's this visceral response that your body has to being released from that bra. And so, this was without even realizing it, this was kind of like intuitively, I was working on a solution so that we still need the functionality of the support, but how could I accomplish that without any of the pain or the negative health impacts? And so one of the themes we talk about on this show is self-trust. And this has been a big lesson for me, because it took a lot of perseverance, it took a lot of work, it took a lot of time, but it was possible. Because again, at first I wasn't sure, I really doubted. I thought, well, if this was possible, wouldn't some fashion design expert, wouldn't they have thought of this? Wouldn't they have come up with it? But, I kept at it. And in the end, what I realized was, I learned why no one had done it, because it's very complicated. It's complicated to design for curves. It's complicated to lift them. It's complicated to make them look good.
Well, then you're a genius. They're great.
Just stubborn. I'm just stubborn and persistent. So I kept at it. But so when I finally accomplished it, and I realized it is possible. It is possible. But because it's expensive, because it's labor intensive, it's not easy. It's not easy to scale. It's not easy to make a profit because there's so much, it requires a high level of skill. These are hand sewn, and it has to be done by highly skilled sewers. And the fabric has to be very high quality because if you use cheap fabric or cheap seaming or it's not well constructed, it won't work. So you can't compromise. And so just so many lessons in this, so much learning as I've talked to women about the things we don't acknowledge even to ourselves, let alone to each other, which is part of why I want to have this show and talk to people and bring these issues out and validate you when you put that bra on and you think this hurts, this is too tight. You were right, it is, and there are alternatives now.
Yes.
But so, it's been, I'm glad I trusted myself. I'm glad I trusted that instinct and followed that instinct. And I hope everybody does learn to do that because this is an area where, although we've made so much progress in many ways, I feel like this is an area where we still suppress it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid. Because we're afraid to look the way we are.
Yeah, we've come so far with body positivity, and yet having boobs that are too big is one of the last acceptable forms of discrimination in the fashion industry. This is one of the things that was so shocking to me when I started researching this, when I started thinking, is it possible to design something better, and why aren't there better things anyway in the fashion industry? And I was just doing, the internet research that we all do, pre-AI, and I came across this interview by a fashion industry veteran, and this quote that was just seared into my consciousness after I read it. It said, the question was, why aren't there more designs for fuller busted women? And the answer was because large breasts never say wealth or class.
All right then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So there's your answer, everyone. That's why
okay.
there aren't better options for women with fuller busts. So that really kind of lit a fire under me, and I thought, from that day forward, I thought, I'm going to make this clothing. Whatever it takes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it out there. I'm going to talk to people about it because women deserve better.
Yes.
And, that's just not acceptable. And really the answer is just because fashion doesn't really like to deal with curves anywhere on the body. They're difficult, they're inconvenient, right? So
that's very sad,
right?
to hear that.
Yeah.
But I am glad you didn't listen, because any time or every time that I wear Embrago, it feels liberating, and I feel beautiful in style, and I'm always in style. There has never been every time that I wear, I feel elegant, I feel beautiful, I feel supported.
You are beautiful.
Oh, thank you. No, but it makes me feel beautiful. It doesn't make me feel that.
Like there's something wrong with your body.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong, and I feel comfortable with myself, which I was not able to accomplish with the other bras sports bras or any regular bra that I wore before. And the beauty of your bras on top of everything else that you explained, the comfort and all that is, they're so elegant looking, and you can add anything you want on top to make it a classier or to make it a more sporty. If you want to go to, have coffee, with a friend, or if you want to go for an afternoon, gathering, or if you want to go for an evening, dinner, you can just accessorize and wear the same thing underneath, which is fantastic.
Right, and nobody notices.
Fantastic.
I mean, that's a lot of women, when they hear about Embrago, they think, well, I can't go without a bra, right? That's their first reaction, because if you introduce the idea of, well, it's bra-free clothing. So you mentioned earlier it's a bra. You could think of it that way, but it's so much more than that, because it's your clothing too. I like to think of it as like a superhero, like Captain Marvel, right? She wears a suit. Is she messing with the bra under that suit? No. It's her magic suit that does everything for her. And that's kind of what Embrago does. But it's such a new concept. It takes a while to wrap your head around, because so many of us who've had to, manage a fuller bust, we have this idea in our head that we can't go without a bra.
Yeah.
So when you first tried it on, like tell me a little bit about your journey from when you first heard about it and then tried it on and then started wearing it more. Like, were you afraid at first that people would see you weren't wearing a bra?
No, I didn't believe you when you first told me the idea and the concept until I tried it on. It gave me so much support, especially from the back to the front, that I immediately felt I don't need a bra. This is the bra, and this is the top. This is a blouse. This is a dress, and I don't need a bra. How liberating is that? No, to me, I think it was more of a liberating experience that finally, there was a piece of clothing, a bra that made me look beautiful, supported, and they looked great. and I couldn't believe it. I didn't believe you until I tried it on. So
that's very common, and that's what most people think when you describe it, because that has been promised by so many other companies out there. Oh, supports and is comfortable, and we all know that that doesn't really apply over a certain size, right? So yeah, I get that a lot, but once you put it on and you started, it's a different kind of wearing experience, right? Because it feels a little different than what you're used to.
I like to throw in right now a little bit of a Spanish word because I don't know if you know this, but in Spanish, do you know what the word in Spanish is for brasier or bra?
No, I don't.
Is sostén. And sostén means to hold. It's a holder. Okay, so a bra, un sostén, in Spanish, is a holder.
A holder.
That holds. So
it's very descriptive.
It holds. Okay, it holds. But at the same time, if you think about hold, it holds. Yes. Okay, it's supposed to hold, but it's not supposed to support. Okay, so your Embrago design creation, wonderful creation, is support bra. It supports and it holds.
And it holds.
It's two things.
And I talk about it like a hug of support, which it truly is, and it's unfortunate you hear that expression a lot, but it doesn't really describe a lot of things that we've worn, and we know that because we feel it. But that is, that again was part of the design, was that it would hold you in that way. It would hold you and support you in the way that a firm, like a really good hug, right, from your mom or your husband or your best friend, where it just makes you feel secure and better and confident, but it doesn't squeeze you.
I know.
It doesn't oppress you in any way.
And I also think that your design, because you're talking about embracing from the back, especially coming from the Pilates, field, is extremely important. Any type of exercises or exercise that you do, even if you don't, that you're comfortable from your back, that you're able to breathe and expand your rib cages when you breathe, because breathing is a reflex. We do it without thinking. But when you breathe and you are restricted, you don't breathe.
It's true. That's right. There's actually, the technical word for it is proprioception. And that's when your body recognizes that there is a constriction or that something is changing its physical position in space.
Yes.
And so there actually have been studies done that people will not breathe as deeply
Yes.
when they feel that constriction. It's not conscious.
I know. We don't. We just simply we restrict ourselves because we conform with the norm. Okay, that we have to wear all these brands, or we just want to be fashionable and say we wear X, Y, and Z.
Right.
However, breathing is so important in our lives that you already mentioned this, but from the Pilates world, breathing is exercise number one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't support your breathing, you can't expand and grow your core.
Yeah, and there's so much instruction in Pilates about
Yes.
breathing, about how to breathe, about how to be aware of your ribs and
Yes.
your back and your shoulders and where you're breathing from. And sometimes you're instructed to breathe from a certain way and
Yes.
other times another way because it is so essential to health.
Yes, but your design, your Embrago design, allows you to breathe and expand your back without feeling that restriction,
Right.
and without feeling that you're going to explode if you go with the fullest deep breath. Oh no, I can't do that
Right.
because this is going to explode. Oh no, your design goes with your expansion of your lungs,
Right.
which is simply fantastic.
And I deliberately designed it to stretch in all directions and in some directions more than others because I wanted it to be able to stretch around the diaphragm, right? So you
Yes.
could take a big breath, so you could eat a big meal. You know, a lot of people have digestive issues. They feel bloated after a meal, right? Well, if you're wearing a tight bra band, that exacerbates any kind of reflux issues or you know, bloating can be very uncomfortable. But then, yeah, also for exercise where you need to take that deep breath and you need to move freely. And yet, so it needs to stretch that way. And yet it also has to be constructed so that it's, you know, counteracting gravity too.
Yes, yes.
Both ways, by the way, because when you're doing advanced Pilates or yoga postures, there's a lot of bending over. Right? Everyone knows the downward dog pose. There are some inverted poses in Pilates where your legs are above your head, and you still want to be held. You still want that support. Nobody wants to feel like they're popping out anywhere. And of course, you can't focus on your workout if you're concerned about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, you accomplished so much in one piece, in one design, that I cannot thank you enough.
That makes me so happy.
And I say that from the bottom of my heart because I feel beautiful. I can breathe. I can work. I can teach. I can move. I can have any functional abilities that pleases me. Sitting down, standing up, reaching over tops, doing Pilates, exercising, walking, watching TV, sleeping comfortably, and waking up and looking beautiful.
Traveling? You do a lot of traveling.
Yes.
We didn't even talk about that, but you're a jet-setting woman, traveling across the Atlantic all the time.
And I did bring my Embrago with me, and I'm going to bring it again. I'm going back to Spain sometime in May, and it's extremely comfortable. And you can wear Embrago for 14 hours in the plane, and you will not feel uncomfortable, especially when you're sitting in those restricted areas. Right. Embrago will embrace your back and make you feel comfortable and supported, without feeling like, oh, I have to change because and take clothes off because
Right, and then you can get off the plane and you're dressed and ready for whatever.
Dressed and ready,
especially if you're dealing with jet lag or you're on a red eye or an overnight flight and you have to be up and presentable when you get off the plane. So, well, thank you so much, Marjorie. It makes me so happy that you love this because I know I sure do, and I think it really can be liberating, as you say, for a lot of people and in a lot of ways. So, and you're going to show us actually some of these Pilates moves, but before we do that, I just want to give you a chance to say any words of advice or encouragement that you would have from your journey, from your perspective as a Pilates instructor, What would you say to women out there who are feeling maybe like they've lost their shape, you know, or they've gotten out of shape and they're not feeling very fit, or they're discouraged about their wardrobe? What would you say to them?
Our bodies are meant to move, and we have to be comfortable with the body that we were born with, regardless of whatever you think it is, that the image that you have of what you would like to look like. You have to be you, and you have accomplished being you by being the beautiful woman you are. It doesn't matter if you're tall, short, whatever race you are, you're a beautiful woman. The only thing that you may want to wonder and say, how can I make myself more beautiful and more accomplished? And all I can tell you right now is one way to make yourself feel more accomplished is by feeling comfortable, being able to breathe, and feeling that, like you said, you're being embraced by a piece of garment that is going to not only give you the sostén, but also the support. It's not going to hold you, but it's going to support you. It's going to support you physically, and it's going to support you and hold you psychologically. And that's what I think we're missing. We're missing the psychological support that we are who we are. But we are more than that, because we're accomplished women. And sometimes we just need that support.
Well, thank you. And I will also put in a plug for Pilates, which is, we were talking about this earlier before we started the show, about the clothes that we keep in our closets, right? I mentioned earlier that I used to dress up in, you know, a lot of business clothes when I went into the office every day. And I loved some of those clothes, and I kept them for a long time. Even after I started my own business and left the corporate work world, even through the pandemic when we were all just home in sweatpants anyway. But back in my younger years, I know that, you know, I would have clothes that I loved, and then maybe I couldn't wear them because I sort of got out of shape, and I thought, well, I'll keep them because I know I'll get back into shape. And I did, and I would get back into shape and I would wear those clothes again. But when you hit midlife, there's a period of time when you are still thinking that way, right? Like, oh, I love these clothes. I'll get back into shape. I'll wear these clothes. And then as your body changes, everything, the distribution changes. There comes a time when you realize, I'm not ever going to be in that shape again. But that doesn't mean that you can't be in great shape.
Right.
And I feel like, thanks to Pilates, I'm in the best shape of my life. I've never felt stronger. I've never felt better. So I dress for the shape I have, and I feel great because I feel strong.
Feeling strong to me means being able to understand what your body can do, and Pilates will teach you that. You can only get strong by moving, and you need a coach. You need somebody to teach you. You need somebody to train you, if you will.
You need support. You need
support.
that kind of support.
Yes, you need that kind of support. I heard from a philosopher, it was a podcast, and he's a philosopher for sports women and sportsmen.
Okay.
And I
Never
heard
of
a philosopher that would philosophize for people that do sports. And he said this, and it stuck with me. And he said, if Messi, you know, the famous soccer player from Argentina, has a trainer and a coach, and he's the best, why can't you? Why can't you have somebody to tell you to train you to get better?
Right.
Why don't you have that support? We all need support.
That's right. That's right. And you're worth investing in that.
And you're worth investing in that. So Pilates is the kind of support that we need for functional life, even the basic things such as getting off that bed and sitting down on that couch.
That's right. That's right. And you can start it no matter how, if you feel weak, if you've been ill, if you're out of shape, there's a place for you there. You can start small.
Yes.
And you might just end up being stronger than you've ever been.
Yes, Pilates is for everybody. Yes, it is.
All right, so Marjorie, you're going to show us some Pilates.
Absolutely. I'll be happy to.
All right.
Okay.
So Marjorie is going to show us an exercise that anyone can do, no matter if you're out of shape, no matter if you've never exercised. This is the foundational exercise of Pilates.
Hello, everybody. Here I am again. So exercise number 1, as I did say, was breathing. Pilates was Smart Man. That was his last name, actually. But his followers named his contrology exercises after his last name. Joseph Pilates understood that in order to be able to engage anything, any muscles in your body, you need to be aware of your breathing. So for Pilates, breathing had to do with breathing through the nose and exhaling through the mouth, taking a deep breath to expand your rib cages and exhaling through the mouth like you're blowing a candle. So take a deep breath, inflating the lungs and supporting your breathing through your diaphragms, and blowing your candle, drawing the belly button all the way against your floor. As you breathe, you're going to inhale and create a little bit of a space between the floor and your back. And you're going to exhale and you're going to flatten your back. And I have to take my hand out to imprint my back or your spine. Inhale. Expand your rib cages and your diaphragm and blow. You're already contracting your abs with breathing. Exercise number 2 is going to bring my knees to a tabletop position. And for this one, I'm going to show you what tabletop means. Bringing your knees towards your chest, but we're going to leave some room between our hips and our knees. And this is called tabletop because I can set anything on my shins. For example, Karen is going to set a book on my shins. Voila, we got a tabletop. Isn't that awesome? I knew you were going to say that. So keeping your 90-degree angle, you can set anything you want. I wouldn't try a glass of water or a cup of a glass of wine, but you could if you like. However, you have to stay steady in this position. We're going to continue with breathing. You're going to take a deep breath and you're going to flatten your back. Inhale and exhale, contracting, inhaling to prepare and exhale to perform. When you perform, you're going to flatten your back and you're going to bring your chin to the chest and you're going to lift. You're going to exhale, inhale and exhale. This is tabletop. Moving on. Now we're going to do single taps. I'm going to set the book on the floor and you can set pretty much anything you want. It could be a yoga block, but since we're using a book from my tabletop, I'm going to continue. Inhale and exhale and toe taps and toe taps, toe taps and toe taps. You can extend the arms alongside you. You don't have to keep them open east to west, but toe taps. I am getting tired just by doing this, but with breathing, you can do double. Double tap. Now we're going to do leg stretches. I'm going to hold my knees for now. Then I'm going to extend one knee out and keep the other knee bent. And then switch. If we want to bring this up a notch, we bring our chin to our chest, lift your chest, Your neck goes with your chest. Don't perk your neck up. It's your chest that lifts, and continue. And switch. And switch. Beautiful. How are we doing? You got this. We're going to continue to double leg stretch. This one is a little bit harder because it requires more control from your core, because now you're going to extend both knees out and bend them in. And in. Inhale and blow. Inhale and blow. Double leg stretch. Now, this is going to lead us to a fantastic exercise that is Pilates core exercise, 100. But we're not going to do 100. You can do 100 at home. You're going to bring your knees back to tabletop, and you're going to extend the arms alongside you. You're going to hover the arms. They're not going to rest on the floor. You're going to hover them, and you're going to start splashing water like you're really splashing water. And this is going to help you start engaging your chest. We're going to continue with the breathing, but now this time, breathing is going to change a little because we're going a little bit faster. We're going to inhale and we're going to blow, counting 4. Inhale and blow. And in and out. So if we bring our chin to our chest, we're going to activate everything, and we're going to inhale and you can stay here up to counting 100, and that's the 100 count that we do for the tabletop. Now, the last exercise I would like to show you is advanced, is the extending the legs and holding, which in Pilates world is called a teaser. Is being able to raise all the way up. Legs and arms and chest are going to lift together in the shape of a Pilates V, like this. You can start slow and you can start with low key, meaning just extending the arms and the knees. Once you get a little stronger, you're going to start lifting the chest and lowering and extending and lifting. And that is the teaser. If you want to be a little bit more advanced, then we do the full extension of the arms. We bring them alongside. We bring our chin to the chest, and we start lifting everything to a V. Full teaser. Do you try it? Let's try it. And rest. I had fun. Did you have fun? I know you did. Well, thank you for watching. This was our segment of Pilates with Embrago.
So I want to share a little bit with you about how I designed Embrago and what makes it really different from anything else that you've tried on before. So first of all, you heard Marjorie talk about how she loves the back support. So let's start in the back, actually. So here you'll see that this is designed without any elastic hooks. There's no bra strap. There's nothing like that. This is a support panel that provides sort of the important anchoring. This is where the back support comes from, and it also creates the foundation for the front. Now, the seaming here and all of the torso is made out of an organic stretch cotton. So this is super comfortable, and it stretches more around the waistline so you can breathe and you can eat, and it can adapt to your body. and it stretches less in the way of gravity so that this stays firm to support the weight of the bust in the front. Now, if you turn a little, I'll show you a little bit more about the design. So again, no chest band here. There's nothing horizontal around the body. This entire support design is floating so that when your body changes, if you gain a few pounds, if you have hormonal shifts, if you're losing weight, gaining weight, going through an illness, whatever, this adapts to your body. So these support straps here are floating and these cups are stretchable so that if you gain, your breasts are very sensitive to hormonal shifts, to hydration changes. And so if they swell or if they contract, this adapts to fit them without creating that unappealing extra poof that many of us have experienced when you put on a bra that's not fitting you right. So again, nothing around the rib cage. All the support comes from this floating design that basically I wanted to make sure this did what we all need. If you're fuller busted, you know this. You need lift, you need positioning forward, and you need separation. So that's what this does. The vertical seaming here is what gives you a beautiful shape. Many of us, our shapes may have changed. We may be a little heavier, but we still have a beautiful shape. And as you can see, as does Marjorie, and this shows you off. Now it does give you a little bit of security though. Like we all feel a little softer in the middle as we get older, and that feeling kind of holds you in without squeezing you. And again, it's organic cotton, so you don't get that hot, sweaty shapewear feeling. And then if you turn just a little bit here, you'll see this design here on the side is what holds your breasts inward and upward. So there's support panels here, and there's this strap that goes, then let's look in the front, it goes all the way over and crosses over, and that gives you the separation and the lift and the profile that makes you look attractive, makes you look like you're wearing a bra, but you don't have any of that hardware around the middle. There's also no foam, there's no padding, there's nothing synthetic inside. The cups are unlined so that you're not adding extra bulk there, which many of us were very sensitive. We've spent a lifetime trying to minimize, so there's no added bulk. And then finally, the straps here I want to talk about. Most bras, even when they say they have wide comfort straps, they're maybe 3/4 of an inch wide, maybe an inch. But you'll see here, this is about 2.5 inches. And you'll see that these support straps, let's turn you again, they anchor in actually behind the shoulder, not here. Because this right here is where the typical bra strap really digs in. And that's where you get those welts and those shoulder grooves. But because this is designed to cross over and anchor in the back behind your shoulder, and then distribute the weight across both this under strap that's 2 to 3 inches wide and this cross strap, which also kind of counteracts the force, you don't have any shoulder impingement. Nothing is digging in or hurting you on the shoulder.
That's our show for today. I'm your host, Karen Poirier, sending you off with hugs of support. Off Your Chest is sponsored by Embrago, full support clothing that frees women from constrictive bras and shapewear. Learn more at Embrago.com.